this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a most marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And thank you for subscribing to the new channel, Black American Lineage, and you are viewing those videos. So thank you very much. Well, today I'm asking a simple question. Why didn't white America believe Michael Oher? Why didn't they have such a hard time believing him? Now, a judge has ended the conservatorship that the Touhys had over him. The judge had to do it. They kept saying they weren't trying to make money off of him, but that conservatorship gave them control over his image, and they could go out and make money with the authorization of that conservatorship. And even though he had asked them to give it up, they wouldn't give it up, even though they claimed they weren't making any money off of it. But when I have done a video on that, white people have come onto my channel, and I don't think they were being mean. I really believe that they thought that he was trying to embarrass them and slander them, and that he was showing ingratitude for all of the help that they had given him. White people really thought he was in the wrong, and that he was just going after money because he had thrown away all of his money that he made in the NFL. So now he was trying to shake them down for money. That's what a lot of white people believe. They never took into consideration that these people, the Touhy family, had deceived Michael Oher, that they were out there pretending and perpetrating, trying to make the public think they were so charitable that they had taken in this poor homeless young man and adopted him and made him a part of their family. They never took into consideration that these people were lying, when in fact they had never adopted him and never intended to adopt him. That was just something that they were doing, using to exploit him. They said, well, the Touhys are worth millions of dollars. Somebody said hundreds of millions. I don't know how much they're worth, but if they are worth that much money, why would they take any money from a poor kid? They knew that his father was incarcerated and that his mother had an addiction problem. If they had so much money, why would they take any money from that young man? Why wouldn't they take that money and try to help him to get their family on their feet? Because he has a lot of brothers and sisters. My question is, why did they take any money? So they took money from the movie The Blind Side and split the money among the Touhy family members. And they treated it like, you know, they were a family of 5 and each one of them got a fifth of the money. That movie made over $300 million. I don't know how much money they got, because the studio isn't going to tell the truth about how much money they got, but he didn't get nearly the money that he should have gotten. And he signed over rights to his life to 20th Century Fox, and he didn't get any money for it. Nobody knows whether the Touhy family got any money or not. But white Americans did not believe him. They believed the Touhy family. The Touhys are well respected. They have the appearance of being rich, and they are white. And they were believed on the basis of that. He's black, he's poor, he appears to be quiet, and he had no one advocating for him. So he just came across as a dumb jock who had spent all of his money in the NFL, all the millions that he had made in the NFL, and now he's back to try to shake these nice white people down for money because he knows they have money. This is the image that they had portrayed. It never occurred to white society, I don't think, that this young man was hurt by what those people had done, how they had portrayed themselves to him as somebody who cared about him, and they were trying to adopt him into the family. And they needed that conservatorship. That was their way of trying to make him think that he had to sign that in order for them to adopt him, when in fact he signed that to give them control over him and to make money off of him. And it's just a slave mentality that they have, that anytime they have a chance to take advantage of a black person, some people, some white people, feel like they should do it, and they don't see anything wrong with it. And that is the problem, in my opinion. They didn't see anything wrong with it, and they knew they had the trust of the white public. They know white folks believe white folks. They believe that black people are the ones that are doing the scamming, even though they had taken advantage of black people for hundreds of years and saw nothing wrong with it. But it's the okie doke that got me. It's the same old. We think we've gotten away from slavery, and then we find ourselves right back in the same situation. This is an old-timey slavery time trick that they pulled on this young man. I came across this article written by a Karen J. Phillips, and the headline says, "The Michael Oher situation illustrates how white people ignore other white people's racism." And it says, Michael Lewis is the author of The Blind Side. Michael Lewis and the Touhy family refused to acknowledge what's so clear to black folks, that white people used Oher for their own benefit. Well, it might be hard for white people to acknowledge it, but I don't think it's hard for many black people to see that these people took advantage of this young man. He writes, "The most frustrating thing about racism isn't that it still exists. It's that so many white people refuse to undeniably admit when it happens. Because if your first instinct was to think that Michael Oher was lying or making something out of nothing, you're the reason why racism is still thriving." Now he's talking to white folks. What we're watching is a change of behavior. Michael Lewis, author of The Blind Side, told The Guardian, "This is what happens to football players who get hit in the head. They run into problems with violence and aggression." This is how he's describing Michael Oher, as somebody that's having a problem with violence and aggression, because he wants an account of what happened to his money. The author of this article continues saying, "This is what happens when a man with a slave owner's mentality writes a white hero book about a white family that made money off of a poor, homeless, big and dumb football player." So the writer of this article is saying that the man that wrote The Blind Side has a slave owner's mentality, and he does. To someone like Lewis, the author of The Blind Side, Michael Oher was nothing until he met those kind and angelic white folks who saved his life. And that's what they were trying to tell the public. And ever since he's come out alleging that the movie and book were based on a lie, as the Touhy family never legally adopted him, it must be due to football, not the idea that Michael Oher finally discovered the truth. So they're trying to say, you know, the football made him stupid, and he was already big and dumb, but football made it worse because these Touhys could never possibly be who he's making them out to be, which is in fact what they are. The author of this article goes on to blast the Touhy family and the writer of The Blind Side for taking advantage of this young man and then trying to make it look like something was wrong with him. He's a fool, or football made him violent and aggressive, and that's why he's being so aggressive towards the Touhys, as opposed to he wants to know what happened to his money because they lied to him. They profited off of him, even as they tried to make him think he was a part of their family. And this writer of The Blind Side was in on it. That's the bottom line. They were in on it. All of them were in collusion. He got a best-selling book out of it and movie money, and the Touhy family got movie money too. And the thing about it that I found so offensive was that when they got paid for The Blind Side, the Touhy family divided that money up just like it was a real family. So they are setting their children up in wealth off this black man's misfortune. It's not just the Touhy family, it's the fact that white America really believed them. They didn't have any question about these wealthy people they say are so wealthy making money off this young black man. That family needed all of that money. He has a family now himself. He needs all of his money. He didn't have any money to give to the Touhy family. But it goes to show that white America is really going to have to open their vision a little wider and open their minds a little wider when things like this happen. Because this woman was going on morning TV shows and talk shows talking about how they had brought this poor, homeless, big, making him seem like a big special ed person, when in fact he was on the honor roll, the dean's list at Ole Miss. But she was portraying him as that, and they are these good white people who took him in and made something out of him. Black women never liked that movie, and black women criticized that movie from the very beginning. And when she was informed of that, this Touhy woman was informed of that on one of those shows, she got smart, like she didn't care what black women thought. And she really didn't. She really didn't, because she was on her white savior mission. I still don't understand why these people who are supposed to have all of this money took money from this young man. I cannot wrap my mind around that. And I don't see how white America can overlook these kind of things. Now, we know that there is always some kind of friction going on between black people and white people. And there is a case to be made for black people and white people being cautious of each other and feeding each other out of long-handled spoons, to use a phrase from way back in the day. Just really, really being careful when we're trying to have any kind of interpersonal relationships with each other, because we know there's always a chance that it's going to go south. The trust is not there. We don't trust them, and clearly they don't trust us, because they didn't trust him when he said that this movie is based on a lie. He always had a problem with that movie. And then when he came back and said, I didn't get paid anything, or I only got a little bit of money. And this woman was writing articles and writing books and going on speaking tours and everything, talking about being the white savior of this poor black kid. And she was making money off this boy. That's why they didn't want to give up that conservatorship. But again, I'm just questioning how much money they really have. If you got that much money, why are you hustling a poor kid? So anyway, this is the dilemma that America is going to have to face at some point. White people just doing anything, and then other white people not holding them accountable. That's going to be something going forward, or it should be something going forward. But at least Michael Oher got the conservatorship ended. So now they don't have any control over his life. But I still hope that he gets back some of that money that they owe him, because there was no reason why their children should have been getting any cut out of the money that was based solely on this young man's poverty and this young man's suffering, really. So, okay, y'all, thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day. And don't forget to check out Black American Lineage channel.